Welcome to More Love, More Life podcast. Today we're interviewing Big Rocc. We're going to talk about his journey from Detroit to LA. Introduce yourself, brother.
First off, I want to say what's up, Mr. Maestro, Uncle Love. It's a pleasure being on the platform.
Thank you.
You know
bro.
what I mean? Thank you for inviting me and giving me the platform to tell my story and my journey. Hopefully, this enlightens people, and by me opening up and detailing different things in my life, people that's going through things or can use it as inspiration. Hopefully, it's that.
Yeah. You're going to do that because our story, we meant to live the life we live so we can help the generation to come.
Yes, sir.
But if we stay blind, they're going to live the same thing. They're going to go through what we went through, bro.
A cycle.
And we got to stop this.
Break a cycle.
So you from Detroit?
Born and raised.
When you come to LA?
I came to LA. Well, now first off, my mom whole side of the family from Detroit, and my dad's family is from Detroit, Texas, and LA. So my mom and dad met in Detroit, but I would visit LA from the time I was 5 until I actually moved here when I was 15. So I came to LA from Detroit in 1990 is when I actually moved here for good, in 1990 as a teenager. And in 1990 I was 14. So 91 when I was 15. That's when I moved to LA.
What brought you to LA though?
What brought me to LA, man, my mom and dad wasn't together. My dad moved to LA when I was 5. So that what brought me here every summer to visit him. And so I came out here when I was 15 to visit, and when I went back, I wanted to stay at that point, and my mom, she wasn't with it. So I went back home, and some guys in Detroit, because there's madness that go on everywhere in the street level. We had some local guys that was dating my sister and my cousin, and they were terrorizing my house because it wasn't a man in the house, and I wasn't respected. I was my sister's 15-year-old little brother. So long story short, protecting my house, I had a shootout in front of my mom with these guys trying to protect my house.
At 15?
At 15. 15, my sister and my cousin were dating some guys. They're young teenage girls at the time. And these guys were disrespecting the house, throwing eggs at the house, just doing what they wanted to because it wasn't a man to protect the house. And so over the summer, I was visiting L.A. and heard all these stories about them breaking our windows out and doing all of these things to the house. So when I came home from my visit from L.A., I hadn't seen them in a couple of weeks, but then one day they was riding up and down the street back and forth. So I went to my mom, who was sitting on the porch next door with one of her friends. It was summertime, Detroit. This was when the neighborhoods were vibrant. People were running up and down the street playing. I'm sitting on the porch, no internet, no video games, so I'm enjoying being outside, just chilling, man, sitting on my porch, watching these guys ride back and forth, knowing how they treated the house over the summer. I walked over to my mom, who was right next door on the porch with her friend Johnny May. Johnny May, rest in peace. And I said, "Hey, Mom, can I go get the gun?" And my mom looked at me in the eye and said, "Yes." And that was big to me at that moment. It let me know that I was transitioning from being a kid to like the man of the house, which is terrible for a young guy to have to be, but it was what it was. So I went upstairs. She had a little 25. I stuck it in my pocket.
Right. And this is coming from our slave dynamics of way back, and it's never left our soul.
And to piggyback on that with you as well, it also comes from our distrust of law enforcement.
Exactly.
Last thing we thinking as a people is to call the police. It's like we need to handle this. You got the no snitching element, which is ridiculous to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got of course, but absolutely the police some police hold the responsibility of this because how we've been treated in our community.
Right.
So that's the last thought that a lot of us think is to go to the police because of the stigma of snitching, the stigma of, well, they come out, I might end up being the one shot and killed and I'm calling for help. So it is a lot of other dynamics that come with the perception of the police and helping us, which needs to change because, like you said, we are paying them to do their job, to help us. And if you trying to save a life, I dealt with more good police than bad. Not like on the real. I dealt with some terrible policemen, no doubt. But I've dealt with more good law enforcement in my life. In my 48 years of life, I dealt with more good police than bad. And I dealt with some asshole police.
Right,
But I've dealt with more good than bad, which changed my perception on how I relay the relationship to police to my children.
Yeah, no, I get that. I'm going to let you get back to your story, but that's what we got to start understanding. The police are meant to do their job.
Yes, sir.
And we as a black community, we on the bottom. And so if that police is patrolling our area and he's picking up our kids who we murdering,
yes, sir.
How do you think that police is feeling when he see a black man?
Right.
I don't care if he's black, white, purple, or green.
Because they human.
Right, they're human. And if they want to go home, but if they keep picking up our kids that we are murdering as black people, how do we expect them to feel?
Absolutely.
We have to start standing up as a race.
Yeah.
And start protesting. Hell with a cop killing our people. When we gonna protest us killing our people?
Come on, man.
But get back to your story, bro. I didn't want to get you off.
No,
It just hit me within the heart.
I'm right with you, and I'm with you because this is organic. So no doubt. You know what I mean? But so to make that part short, so I get the gun, I got it in my pocket. The guys, my sister's boyfriend is who I really had the problem with. I'm telling them he has to go. He can't be around here. So the other guy drop him off and come back with another dude driving. He's in the passenger seat. This dude is dating my cousin. My mother is at the car playing with this 16-year-old kid. Please leave our house. And I'm thinking like, "Ma, fuck that. You don't have to beg this punk to leave it." You know what I'm saying? So now I'm getting hot and I'm approaching the car. Now my cousin approaching the car who's dating the guy. She begging him, "Look, leave my auntie house. Don't do this. I'll call you later." She up on this car and she see a gun in his lap. Me and my mom don't see that. She see the gun and go to grab his hand because I guess he got it. And she trying to grab his hand. We don't understand all of this. He slap her. All I see is he slap my cousin. And so I'm 15. I shoot at the car. I don't shoot at him. I'm still nervous and scared. But I shoot at the car thinking, okay, this is going to run them off. When I shoot at his car, he come out his car with something big. And I'm like, oh. And what saved my life, it was some gentlemen next door who were, in my eyes, grown men, but they probably was only 22, 23, because like I say, I was 15. They was standing there just holding us down like, hey, y'all good? And my mans was jealous because of the relationship he had with my cousin, so he started shooting at them first. And I turn around and I run up to my front porch. As he's shooting at them, divine intervention, nobody got shot. And when I say point blank range, I never seen nothing. I seen something like this happen one other time in my life, and the other producer of the show, Rocc, can attest to this. Some guys was shooting right at some guys, and I can't. But anyway, that's a whole other story. He didn't shoot none of them, but I'm hearing the shots. I get to my porch, and it's all happening fast. This is a story I'm telling, but you got to think this is seconds. Click, click, click.
Right, I get it.
So it happened so fast. And I'm thinking, wait, my mama and my cousin still in the street. This guy shooting. I got a gun. So I turn around to return fire again. And when I turn around to return fire, now they finished with the guys next door. And he hanging out the window like this. Look, and I know this guy. Like, before this incident, I was cool with him. We was cool. He's my cousin boyfriend. Mm-hmm. So now I'm looking at him, looking at me with a murderous anger in his eye, not saying nothing. And he just started letting off on me. I'm standing on my mom's porch.
But didn't you just shoot at him?
So he had all the right in the world, but I'm a kid. But I just shot at him.
With a gun. The bullets don't come out saying I'm a kid.
And you don't play with a gun.
They come out saying murder.
And that was my first lesson of, if you don't pull a gun, if you pull a gun, it's to really protect yourself, and you better use it to stop with it. It ain't no, bow, get away from here. It ain't no playing with a gun.
Well, you have a choice.
You got a choice.
You have a choice to walk away. You have a choice to give peace. You have a choice to die. You have a choice. We have free will.
And the reason I made that choice, because I'm off for the bravado, this nigga just slapped my cousin.
Right.
Right? But I didn't shoot at him. which I'm thinking like they gonna scatter when I bust this gun, but nah, cause he a young hothead, so he ain't like oh nigga, we doing gunplay. Oh, this is what I do.
Right. And you
Cause
young.
he was known for this. I ain't no gun guy. I'm my mama's baby. This dude in the neighborhood, he was already hustling. You know, he was a neighborhood guy. So
wait, let me ask you, what put the thought to go get that gun? What made you want to have that bravado? Where did that come from?
it came from my environment. It came from the music. It came from the movies. It came from the guys I saw up close and personal. It came from all of that.
You're a product of your environment.
Product of my environment. So it came, and it came from mainly though, because I wasn't trying to prove a point. I was trying to protect. I was trying to protect my home.
But you have children, right?
Yes, 3.
Okay, so just think if you told your child,
couldn't imagine.
go get that gun.
I couldn't imagine.
You know what's in that child heart?
Yeah.
Daddy, I'm finna prove to Daddy I'm a damn warrior.
But the difference is, Daddy, I got this. It was no man in the house. So my boys wouldn't have to even think about that, because at my wisdom and where I'm at and protecting my home, and I've had incidents where I had to protect my home now at my age now, where I did what? I called the police.
Right, I get it.
You know what I mean? So my sons, but these lessons I learned has turned me into who I am, where my
in your life.
children don't have to deal with what I dealt with. And the trauma of it all. When the gentleman shot at me on the porch, I jump in the bushes. And God is good, man, because we look at movies and all of this kind of stuff. I might have shot my mom. I might have shot my cousin, because I'm telling you, I ran to go to the porch. But when he started shooting, I turned around and returned fire. But he was looking at me and started busting at me, so I had to jump in the bushes, and I jumped in the bushes and held my head. And I'm glad I didn't return fire, because I'm not a marksman. I had a 25, a deuce. My mama right there, I could have shot and killed my mama, man. My little cousin Jamila was on her little bike. I could have shot. It was a summer day, so that was good. I didn't shoot back, but I jumped in the bushes. Long story short, my mama witnessed that and said, "Okay, I'm sending you to L.A. with your dad. You
That's
do
how
need
you
to
got
leave."
to
That's
LA.
how I got to L.A. That incident right there, because she wasn't gonna let me move here at first. So when that happened, she sent me to L.A. and then she moved to Ann Arbor. That's like outside of Michigan, where the school, Michigan University, is at and stuff. A much better community, but she got me up out of there. So that's what brought me to L.A.
Did you get to L.A. and straighten your life up?
Well, when I moved to LA, now that incident, I wasn't a bad kid. So my life wasn't really going down a narrow path or nothing. And real quick to revert, I wanna say to the people, because the imagery mostly of gangbanging is a child coming from despair, coming from a bad environment, coming from a broken home life. And so they turn to the streets. I didn't have that. My life, even though my dad and mom wasn't together, I grew up in a great family with love and picnics, and we hung out, and my mom took me and my sister to museums. And I wasn't, even though we lived in Detroit and we didn't have it like that, me and my sister had a house full of love. It wasn't people in and out. We had our bedrooms. I was good. So my life, that incident was that incident. But prior to that, home life was wonderful. Like I didn't come up hard.
No, I get that,
I
but
understood the community.
that incident showed a lot.
Yeah, no doubt.
And what that incident showed, you didn't know how to regulate your emotions. And that's what's happening with our kids in our neighborhood. We all are thinking we came from a nice environment.
No doubt.
But if we
didn't understand it at that time. Yeah.
But if we start going deeper and understanding, why did I go get that gun? What would the other kid have did? He wouldn't have went and got that gun. You know why? Because he would have regulated his emotions.
Absolutely.
He would have understood.
Absolutely.
These are things as us as black individuals growing up in a poverty-stricken area are not understanding.
Yes,
and we
sir.
still don't see it because we never was privy to it.
Yeah.
But now that God is revealing things to us, it's not about blaming my mama, my daddy, my sister,
Absolutely.
my brother. What it's doing is saying nobody knew. But you giving me the power to see now, so I got to get this power to the people.
Yeah.
Because we can all say we ain't no gang banger because he think he was a bad kid. Nobody came out of the womb cripping, blooding.
Right.
Nobody.
Right.
We all was good kids.
Yeah.
We was products of our environment.
100%.
And our environment came from our parents because our parents didn't know how to regulate their emotion.
Right.
That could have been an ass whooping, which we in the black community thinking, oh, ass whooping is okay. An ass whooping puts something on your ass to make you respond. I better learn how to cope in this family so I won't get that next ass whooping.
And that's what you put out there. Your conflict resolution is an ass whooping.
Right.
And whether it come with a gun or whatever, but absolutely, which we'll go deeper, but the ass whooping come from what? Slavery. You got a line, you got your ass whipped.
Right.
So, and that's passed down through generations. So I'm right there with
generation after generation.
Absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
you go back to the 1600s, kids wasn't whooped. Kids was raised to be a man. Get your ass out there and work.
Yeah.
And then they try to figure out how do we make kids obey.
Yeah.
Take away love. Give them an ass whooping.
Yeah.
Discipline them.
Absolutely.
And we are the product of this. And we thinking it's okay because everything we see is an ass whooping. But working around rich people, they not giving out ass whoopings. They sitting there talking to that daughter, talking to that son. They telling them how to regulate that emotion. They telling them, if you feel anger, feel it.
Yeah.
But pay attention to what your behavior going to be from it.
What's going to stem from that?
Right. Your behavior was to go do a drive-by or shooting.
And I learned that through my first son. I used to go hard on him, and during me raising him, I understood the psychology and that I had to tap into him. It's not about being brutal. You gonna listen to me like that. So I'm right there with you because with my youngest son, and he's a great kid, man. He's he's here in the studio with us now. Honor roll student, athlete, wonderful young man. But I don't raise him to fear me. I raise him to respect me. The consequences aren't an ass whooping. I talk and communicate with him.
Right.
So no, I'm right there with you.
Right, because
that was a learned response from me. I had to learn that as a man.
You raising a man, and that's what we don't see. We look at it as a kid as a product of, don't disrespect me, don't embarrass me.
Yeah.
That's
Just
not
listen
a
to
kid.
me.
Right.
Without even explaining or breaking down, well, why? Even if they ask, well, why? Don't ask what, just because I said so.
But you answer that why.
Yeah.
Because if you don't answer that why, you taking away that child's voice.
Yeah.
And that child now know if I question my mother, my daddy, I'm going to get slapped.
Right.
And then what that happened, that comes to authority. Now you see authority and you bagging up.
Yeah.
Because your authority figure whooped your ass.
Yeah.
So now you're not even talking to the cop.
And trying to understand or that communication. No, I'm right there with you. Yes, sir.
This is what this is about. See, this whole community here is about grabbing a tribe that want to vibe with this.
Yeah.
Because you wasn't a bad kid, I wasn't a bad kid. The hardest game banger wasn't a bad kid.
Yeah.
He had to figure out how to survive. And by surviving, he thought, if I get into this game and I murder another black man that looks like me, walk like me, talk like me, what is he really saying? He's saying he hate himself, dog.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what
Conflict
we gotta start
resolution is
understanding.
violence. That's how we resolve conflict immediately, is through violence.
Right.
Conflict resolution is big. That needs to be really highlighted in our community. Conflict resolution. Me and my wife had this conversation all the time about conflict resolution. It's a way to communicate a message to get through conflict without us having to use our ego and emotion all day, every day. All day, every day. Yes, sir. So to answer your question, reason I said it like that, you asked that I get my life back on track. To me, it wasn't on track. It wasn't off track. I'm still a kid that played basketball and liked video games and rap music. So when I went to L.A., I didn't go out there. This incident didn't make me mad.
Wait. It wasn't off track, but it was off track.
Yes, sir.
Because by you doing what you did, now put another spirit within you,
no doubt,
that made you look at the world. If somebody attacked me, I attacked them.
Right.
Even with that little child you said that was out there, that was trauma on that child.
Watching that.
Right. And then say that again, did you go get counseling for it? I'm sure the answer was no.
Of course not.
So that's what I'm saying. Trauma.
But consciously. That's what my point is consciously. See, so 'cause what you saying is in hindsight as an adult, I can feel that. But right then and there, consciously, that wasn't my mind state. I was just doing what I thought that's what we do. So when I went to LA,
That's what we do.
I didn't feel
Exactly.
like nothing was wrong. So it was nothing to get back on track because in my conscious mind, that's just an incident, which
Right.
is terrible. But now in hindsight, I can see that. But at that time, no, I wasn't off track because I was just a kid doing what I thought a man protecting his house. So when I went to LA, that incident really was over with. It was nothing I thought about. I went right back to fun. I went right back to video games, girls, and sports. When I went out there, I didn't immediately like that. That didn't make me continue with that type of behavior. Like I didn't move to LA and keep on going with the like I didn't walk around. I didn't feel no different.
But
Like
it was
that,
part of you.
That was that happened. It was over, and I actually was like, shit, cool. Now I can move to LA because I wanted to move to LA anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So in hindsight, it was actually like, okay, I'm out here now. So
So tell me what happened when you got to LA.
Well-
Did you leave the games alone? Did you join the game? What happened?
Well, in Detroit at
This
the
is
time,
going to show
the
what that
transition.
experience had. on you.
Absolutely. Now in Detroit at the time, it's no gangs. Like it was just drug dealing. So I had no exposure to gangs except over the years that I would visit LA. Some of my older cousins were involved in gangs, but but my dad wasn't a gangbanger and my immediate family wasn't into gangs. So the immediate exposure to gangs wasn't in my psyche. The exposure to gangs really came from the culture. And I'm going to keep it real. It came from hip hop. The NWA kicked off it was Colors, because I'm in Detroit. Colors and NWA exposed gangbanging to me and everybody out there to a whole nother light. So that was the infatuation with gangbanging came from what was perpetuated through the media. Because I came up in an area where it was no gangs. We had like when you watch Warriors, the old movie.
Yeah, I remember
it
Warriors.
was gangs like that in Detroit. It back in the 70s and early 80s, it was Pony Downs and the BKs, but they wasn't fighting over colors or nothing. And then it became more, when the 80s transited, it was just dope. So in Detroit, the murderous scheme and what was going on there was always behind money. So gangs wasn't prevalent to me when I first moved to LA. It was prevalent to me through the culture, through the music and everything. So when I moved to LA, I'm still on my Detroit vibe with I want to get money and I wanted to be an NBA player. So I was still on that. So when I moved to LA, I actually went to Hawthorne High. Right? So my dad lived on 81st in Vermont. So I'm in the community, but then still my everyday, Hawthorne High at the time was a great school. It wasn't a bunch of stuff going, wasn't a bunch of gangbangers, and it was so different from Detroit with the mix of people there from all kind of cultures. In Detroit, you got black and white. I come here, you got Tongans, Samoans, Mexicans, Asians, Indians, blacks, white. Like we going to school, we going changing classes, walking outside. In Detroit, we got just the institute. You go in that building, and you in that building all day till you leave. So L.A., when I first moved there, it was a breath of fresh air. It was like, wow, this is beautiful. Even though the gang culture was still prevalent because DJ Quick was popping then. So DJ Quick was more of an influence at that time because I loved Quick and his crew. But I wasn't into gangs yet. My cousins who were gang banging knew my pops and knew me and didn't even try to, when I wanted to, hey, can I come over there with you? Nah, nigga, what? Nah, Rocc, sit down. So gang banging still in the 10th grade didn't really hit me yet. That didn't come to 2 years later, 12th grade. So when I moved to LA, I was a good kid. I made the basketball team in the 10th grade. My mom didn't know nothing about getting me involved in sports. I just played in the streets in Detroit. When I moved to LA, I try out for the team, I make it, I'm doing all of this. But now, here's where things shifted. Now, my pops, I wasn't living with him for all of these years. I would see him in the summer. So as a father, he's trying to make up for all of this gap in between summers, and we just did fun stuff with my pops, right? Knoxberry Farm, Magic Mountain, La Brea Tar Pits, going to eat at all these great places. So Pops, he would give me lessons, but not like he couldn't because it was a short time. He was trying to like be a good dad as he knew to have fun. So when I moved out there, it was kind of on the same thing. He gave me a lot of freedom, too much freedom. Like he would let me get the keys to the car, no license, I'm 15. I can go anywhere in LA that I wanted to.
He was being your equal.
He was being my friend. And this is not a persecution on him. I understand. He was trying to make up for lost time and pull me in.
How old was your father when he had you?
My father had to be 17 or 18.
Okay.
Because my parents were teenagers. So my pops was about 18 maybe, and my mom's was 16. So I was born to young parents.
Right.
So when I moved to LA in the 10th grade, I didn't get involved with gangs. I made the basketball team, but it wasn't a lot of involvement from my dad and my uncles and stuff with me in sports. Like I was on my own. And there's a lot of competition in sports. It's guys who have been at that school, who was the coach's favorite. And I knew if I had the support with what I had in my chest and how I could play, I would really prevail in basketball. But the support never happened, so I quit basketball. But I still wanted to be great, and I thought my other only option was to rap. Basketball or rapping. So I started rapping. Summer of 10th grade. So when I started rapping, what is the rap that I resonate to? Gangster rap, street rap. So now I'm a street guy that I grew up in the streets in the community, but I still grew up in the family. Like the majority of black people in the neighborhoods are not into the streets and in despair. They just trying to make a way, might be struggling, but it's still love and family. But I resonated to that music. So now I'm rapping about shit I ain't never did. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going off of what I'm listening to this summer, 10th grade, right? Got into a little situation with my dad with him trying to discipline me. Now the fun part was over and he was trying to get in my ass for fucking up in school. So I ran back home to Michigan to my mama. Did the 11th grade in Michigan. Went out there, stole her car to go see a girl. Crashed her car off in the woods. She got a great job at the Ford plant. She got a fiance. She's been raising me all her life on her own. I felt terrible. Like, now here I come back into her life, and I'm fucking up.
Who was this?
This is my mom.
Okay.
Like, here now I come back, I crash her car. I'm causing, you know what I'm saying, a disarray. So I made a conscious decision. I'm going to go back to LA with my pops for the 12th grade. I'm going to graduate high school because I was a smart kid, but high school I had no interest. So I failed all my classes, 9th, 10th, and 11th grade damn near. So I was like, man, I'm going to go back to LA where school is free.
I thought you just said you was a good kid.
Yeah, I was.
What makes us a good kid and a bad kid?
Well, a good kid was my behavior. You know, I behavior-wise, I never got in no trouble. I always defended myself, but always known as a good child. Everybody around me, my teachers and friends, citizenship in school, I wasn't a troubled kid. So as far as the education part, I got disinterested by the time I got to high school because now I want to get money. I want to be fresh. I'm looking at the rappers. I'm listening to that. So I was disinterested in education in the American system. I want to go get it now. But I was still behavior-wise because I was raised good. Mm-hmm. So I was still a good kid. So 11th grade, I made the decision after 11th grade, and I crashed my mom's car and all that to move back with my dad, deal with him, and go to summer school, and I wanted to walk the stage because no man in my mom's family had ever graduated high school. This all the way back from my grandpa. And I got uncles and cousins. So for me, it was very important that I did that. And I credit that to my dad's brother, Andre, who was really deep into education. And before he died in a car accident on 79th in Normandy, he told me, man, finish school. You got this far. So anyhow, I moved back to LA, 12th grade. I go to summer school. And I said, okay, I'm going to be this big rapper. But first, let me set up my... Now, I'm doing all this on my own. Unc. Bam. I signed up for summer school. After summer school over and I get them credits, school start. I go sit down with my counselor and tell her, hey, I want to walk the stage. What can I do? She look at my records and say, you would have had to go to summer school. I said, I did. She said, okay. She said, okay, well, from here, you got to go to night school and Saturday school for the whole school year, my whole senior year. I said, sign me up. I went to night school, summer school. I locked that in. Then I went to find a producer. So once I'm finished school, I can be this big rapper. So I'm at Washington High in South Central Los Angeles on the 108th and Dinker for anybody not familiar with LA. And that's in the heart of South Central. That's different from Hawthorne High, where I went in the 10th grade, which is in the outskirts of LA.
Right.
I'm in Washington now in the mix, where you got all these different gangs that actually... I got gang members in my class now, and it's now, and I'm a little older, and now gangster rap is way more prevalent too. So I'm still influential. As smart as I am, I'm still not influential, but easy to be influenced. A young dude. So I sign up with all my classes to graduate, and I go look for a producer. And the guy tell me, yeah, this guy named Rocc is a producer. Now Rocc is born and raised in L.A., and he lived in a neighborhood that's known as Hoover. Now, he wasn't a gangbanger, but as you know, everybody in L.A., even if you don't bang, you are affiliated with the hood that you live in. That's just your immediate environment. So he was affiliated with Hoover, although he wasn't a gangbanger. So when I met him, I said, hey, man, I need a producer. He's like, come on to my house, man. I produce this, that, and the third. I'm not connected to a neighborhood. Mm-hmm. So I go to his house, and I'm rapping. So as months go by, and I'm over his house rapping, and his house is one of those neighborhood houses where his dad and his mom, they lived over there all his life. So everybody on the block love and respect them, even the gangsters. So that's when I met Jeff, your brother. I met Conrad. I met BV. And these guys older than us. They got money. They gangbang, but they was a different type of gangbanger. They wasn't the imagery I saw on TV. It was money. They had money, and they was clean, and it was trucks outside with music and cars and rims. So it reminded me of the dudes in Detroit that got money, but they gangsters. I'm totally impressed. They hear me. They come in my friend Rocc's bedroom. We 17. These guys grown. They got money. They chilling. Ostrich boots, jewelry, clean. They chilling. Listen to me rap. And after I rap, they say, hey, cuz, where you from? Now, I'm from Detroit. I'm thinking they asking where I'm from. L.A. lingo, everybody know what neighborhood you from. And they wasn't set tripping. They just like, where you from? Like, you cold on that mic, nigga. What hood you represent? I said, I'm from Detroit. They said, oh, you from Detroit? Rocc said, yeah, this is my boy from Detroit, from high school. He just moved out here. And they said, oh, cuz, you with us. Oh, man. Yes, I am.
You got recruited.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm like, these older dudes, they looking at me like I'm looking at them like, nigga, you cold, little young nigga. You with us. So right then and there, it was my introduction to truly gangbanging. I knew about it and seen it, but that right there was when I'm like, man, I'm with the Hoovers.
So for that to happen tells me somewhere in your life you was lacking something.
Absolutely.
Something your daddy wasn't giving you.
Absolutely.
You accepted it from the neighborhood.
Somebody else.
Because we all as people want to try.
Yeah.
That's what's pulling us. And you became part of that tribe.
Yep.
So from that point on, did you start gangbanging?
Yeah. Now, I didn't immediately start putting in work or nothing like that. But now, I'm from Hoover. I'm starting to now get orange stuff. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm starting to say groove. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm slowly but surely I'm starting to meet other guys my age from the set. And like I told you, I didn't grow up hardened. I didn't grow up like having to do dirt or in a bad environment, but I was with it. So it was stuff I was willing to do. It's things I think about that I did now that I shudder because I just wanted to prove to guys that I would do it. It's not that I had to. I was like, I'll do it. Yeah, I can do that. I'll do it. Anything that my peers wanted me to do at that time, I was with it because of the peer pressure and wanting to continually be accepted by me, not wanting to lose the acceptance that I had gained. So like, yeah, I'll do what I got to do to be part of this. Absolutely.
Right. And that's where this is coming in, harming our community. And this is where father figure, all this come in. Because you was lacking something, which we all were.
Yeah.
But we have to start admitting this because we're going to change the community. We have to realize everybody's looking for a tribe. No matter if it's basketball, game banging, football, or intellectual tribe.
Yes, sir.
But we have to start making our black kids believe it's okay to be smart. It's okay to be a nerd.
It's better to be that.
Exactly. But we promote this like a gangster. And within that gangster lifestyle, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Murder, prison, get to be 60, 70 years old with no future.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We have to change this, Rocc. I mean, I appreciate the story you telling, bro.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because that's made me the man I am now. All of these experiences made me I read to the kids in my community. I'm involved in my kids' school. Like this side of me, I tell my kids because I'm instructing them on how to be in my mistakes. But what they've seen all their life is nothing like what I turned myself into consciously to be accepted by a tribe. But I had a great tribe was what I'm saying. Like my family, I had a great tribe, but what was missing was it was conflict between me and my dad. Because as great as a father he was and still is, he's old school. So his communication with me, like you said, we need to start calling the police or go to seek therapy. Like when that happened to me, when I had the shootout, I didn't seek therapy, things of that sort. We know now people are understand mental illness or anxiety or talking to people or being more cognizant to how a person's mentality is. Back then, it was just shut up and do what I do. Shut your ass up. This is what it is. And that's because that's how they were raised. So the conflict between me and my dad, where when he was communicating love and discipline, but it was harsh. And now I'm becoming a young man. I don't want that message like that. I'm not receiving your message because your message is a great message. But the way you giving me that message, I'm shutting down. I can't hear that message.
Right, you bucking up against the message.
Yeah. So now I'm getting nothing but love, admiration, and respect from the OGs in the hood. They not talking to me like this.
Right, because they recruiting you and they using that against you.
Hey, yeah, homie, here you go. Hey, y'all niggas go get some drink. Y'all go get some weed. Hey, man, they bringing the girls over there. You know what I mean? It was love. It felt like, and I know it was love because they didn't know either. They, in hindsight, these OGs, but they 26,
right,
27, 20 babies. I'm 48 now. So at the time, I'm 17. These guys in their mid to late 20s, they grown men. They know what it is. Now I look back, they was finding themselves, if they ever did.
If they ever did, because a lot of the people you name are gone, bro.
Unfortunately.
A lot of them got murdered. A lot of them did prison time.
Yes, sir.
And that's what we got to start looking back at.
Yes, sir.
You look at it as they gave me this and that, but if you really open your eyes and you see it was nothing but the devil in there, bro.
Absolutely.
He was controlling our whole destiny.
Absolutely. So the communication, the way the message was received from the homeboys opposed to the parent. And like I say, that's not blaming the parent. They thought they was doing, what they came up with, the old school of teaching us and everything. So when I received a message from my homeboys who, like we say, were babies, and it's the message of the devil, though, they didn't even understand. It's coming through music, a conscious effort to destroy our community, a lot of different things that we have to do a whole nother podcast to get into.
Right.
But that message, that acceptance from that hood is what locked me in. So at that point, it was nothing that my dad or my grandma, the influences could do to change me from wanting to be a part of this, what I was initiated into.
Right. I got it. I mean, you was fascinated with it.
Totally fascinated.
Right.
Totally.
But that's what's killing our kids. Because even the rap music you want to produce,
Right.
was you producing rap music of love or of violence?
Well, now, right then and there, and that's the thing. We started off with when me and Rocc, who I told you, my brother I met in Washington, who brought me over to that area.
That's our producer now.
The producer of the show behind the camera. What up, Rocc? But we started a group called 781 because even though we was messing with the gang banging, we still rapped about a little bit of everything. So the meaning of 781 was the flip of 187, which means murder in the penal code of Los Angeles. So we said we'll make it life. Well, man, we gonna rap about the streets, but we was trying to keep it true to ourselves. But we like to party, we like girls, we like school, we love our moms and stuff. So we started rapping about everything. We rapped about good stuff and bad, which is missing from hip hop, where they give you alternatives and show you everything. So we was kind of more still on the post of hip hop, where they gave you the pros and the cons. But the more as years passed on, and the more and more we started to get love from the hood, from our raps, and we started to grow older and hang in the hood more, the raps did start to transition more onto gang banging. And we still kept that life element in there, and we came back to that. But at that period, we started to go a lot harder on the gang bang element, because that's what was being praised immediately from our immediate circle, and that's what we was digging. And the devil, man, sometimes when you in that devil's light and that energy, it feel good.
Right.
It felt good, man. We was getting sex. We smoking weed. I'm hustling now, making a couple of thousand. It's like that energy and that light of the devil, man, can be really alluring. It can really be alluring where you don't even realize it. You have to pull yourself out to really waken yourself. So initially, to answer your question, we were doing positive. I made a song called The School Song, rapping about a good day in school. I made a song called Beautiful Day, about waking up and having a beautiful day. But then I made a song called Come Rough, talking about street shit. So we was mixing it up, but it transited more to the street shit. Absolutely.
Okay, so you was fishing, but your energy still took you to the negativity.
No doubt.
And that's what our community has to start realizing. We have to start really admitting, we as the black community, we're on the bottom of this totem pole.
Yes, sir.
And if we start admitting this and understanding that the whites rule this world, and they're going to accept the music you put out to harm each other, because if you're listening to that music and it steadily get into your brain, then you're going to want to live that life.
And it's going to keep you where? At the bottom of the totem pole.
Right. And then by you living that life, what happens? They open the prison system, they make
Privatize
it private.
it, yes, sir.
And then
they getting money off of it. The product.
Or the product.
Of the prison system.
Right. We
Yes,
60% of the prison system.
Yes, sir.
We're
If
not understanding it. Exactly. But then we sitting here and we talk about P. Diddy of what he did, but every rapper at that young age that was a rapper, what was he searching for? Sex.
Yeah.
So
I was.
Right. You can't judge that man on what he did.
Yeah.
Because he went down, you better realize why he went down.
Yep.
Because the powers to be had the control of that, and they have the control of these rappers, and they want to put that negativity out to your brain, because if you and your children watch that constantly, you want to live that life.
Yeah.
But if we change our life and we start imitating what they doing, which is picking up them books, which is learning knowledge, because let's go back again to KRS-One.
Absolutely.
Knowledge reigns supreme.
Over nearly everyone.
Exactly, bro. Let's take that in and start living that.
Yes, sir.
We can't keep killing ourselves, man. Because again, we are running around here looking for red and blue that's looking like each other, and we killing ourselves. So if we doing that, what we really saying to this world, we hate ourselves.
And on that note, man, to this day, like I say, at 48, I still produce music, content, and things of that sort. And it's so much different now because I have a grandchild even. I got 3 children and a grandchild. So once you start having kids, you start thinking about what you putting out and what they'll see of you. You putting stuff out, you don't worry about your image to somebody else's kid. You know, fuck these niggas, I'ma shoot up the club. But then when you have a son who could possibly get shot up at the club, you look at it differently now. When you have a daughter who a dude be like, nigga, I'ma hit that bitch and do this and fuck her from. Now you like, whoa. So you thinking about the stuff you putting out now because you have a daughter and a child, which is like, you know what I mean? Like you don't care initially until it'll hit home.
Right.
And I say that to say, right now my family is going through an extreme tragedy. We just lost a member of Malik Birdsong who came from the environment, who came from the jungles and brought himself up to be a welterweight champion boxer. Wasn't a gangbanger, didn't perpetuate it, had the best spirit in the world. And some babies, he's 31-year-old champion, some babies in their teens ran up on him because he was visiting his mom in a neighborhood he wasn't affiliated with, but that they're beefing with, and they murdered him in broad daylight in front of his family, which caused me to think even deeper. I told myself, man, I don't even want to listen to that type of shit no more. And I was like, man, I'm not putting out nothing that's even flirting with that bullshit no more, because how can I be sad about this shit and then I'm going to go in the studio and say something about a gun? It ain't in my spirit no more, man. Like it really ain't. It really ain't in my spirit no more. And that's like you say, we gotta be honest and leave the ego and the bravado and stop looking at the benefit that we can get from talking like this or acting like that, and really, really look deep and change ourselves. And that's the challenge. To me and you was talking off camera earlier, to deprogram, then reprogram.
Right.
That's the challenge, man. Because with what we saying too, I gotta say there is a huge surge in the movement of black excellence in this country. I can't negate that. There are a lot of people who are trying to change things, like yourself, like me, people who are doing wonderful things in the community, but that scourge still pops up, and that's what we are focusing on here on this show. But we got examples, because like you said, we got to look at what successful people doing, Europeans and things of that sort. And we got some wonderful examples within our own community that we can really look at and jump on board with and try to change things. But that scourge and that music and that influence, man, is so strong and powerful through the channels that control it, that's keeping it in front of you so much, where they not keeping, like you. This should be pumped everywhere 24/7, but it won't be. Even people who watching this and resonate with us won't share this, but they'll share Sexy Red, and it's no knock on her and what she doing. I'm not gonna speak, but I'm saying things that are not beneficial to the community, or some of these rappers even, they'll pump that all day. Even people that we know personally, I look at that, they clowning. I look at, she smacked the shit out of her. I look at the people beat up the people at McDonald's, and they'll repost that. But here we are talking about this. How many people are going to repost this and say, man, did you see that episode? Did you see what they was talking about? So we got examples in our own community, but we won't hold them up. We'll be so busy and so happy, as you brought up, Brother Diddy, who going through something, and if whatever he did that was wrong is wrong, and I'm not defending that, and whatever any human being has to do to pay for their wrongs, they need to do. But we'll be here so happy to tear him down and look at him and look at his kids and all of these terrible things, instead of and reposting jokes about him, instead of trying to learn from that situation and then putting stuff out there like this. So it's really us, man. We really have to deprogram and reprogram, like seriously.
Yeah, but the deprogramming and reprogramming, people have to understand we are like computers. And we, as our race, we got a virus in our computer.
Oh man, I never heard it put like that.
And until we erase that virus, we cannot get new software.
That's a hell of an analogy, Unc.
Right.
That's a hell of an analogy.
And that's what we got to start realizing, bro. We walking around here corrupted. And that virus got full control of us, and they releasing it through the music.
Yes, sir. In the movies, in the videos, the video games, everything.
Right. So to hit on your point, it's hard to reprogram. Because if you're stuck into that pleasure zone, if you're stuck into that lust,
It feels
that
good.
feels good.
Feel
Exactly.
good. I remember. It feel good. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
The flesh.
So you have to get rid of the flesh. I'm not saying you got to abandon the flesh, but you got to get control of the flesh.
Okay, on that point, I love you said that, man, because like you said, don't abandon it. And what I say with that is because this is our environment, like a jungle, right? A lion has to, if you take a lion and raise him in the zoo and then put him in the jungle, he gonna die. So he do need to know about all the pitfalls and all the stuff. It's not like alleviate knowing about certain things and traps and stuff that you can get in the world. So I say that to say with my children, like my son right now, I speak on my 16-year-old. He's an honor roll student. He's never been in trouble with the law. I've never got a phone call from school about his behavior. He's an athlete. He'll look you in the eye. You met him today. He came right up to you, shook your hand, introduced himself, looked you in the eye.
Right.
Right? Now he listens to Lil Durk. He listens to Kodak Black. Me and him ride on our way to the gym to work out, and I let him play his music because I want to hear it too, what you listening to. But the thing is that I make sure I am the dominant and the main influence in his life. And like I told you, going back to my pops, loving me and bringing me up, the way he communicated with me didn't go and try. It was more talking at me than to me or with me. And I learned that. So therefore, it's like, okay, I'm not going to take away all these things because I listen to stuff right now. But and even when I listened to NWA and all of that, I was on track with basketball, but it was that gap where I didn't have people constantly on me. I'm constantly on my son, whereas no doubt in life, anybody could fall off track or be influenced by something. But I know that today, I'm the main influence in that young man's life. So he can watch a movie. He can play Call of Duty because I consciously let him know since he was little first. Now, you know this is a video game. You know in real life, this happens if you do this. You know killing someone, you know what guns can do. Do you know this little Billy bullet right here will do this? Do you know that, I'm parenting him. Mm-hmm. So therefore, he's looking at that stuff and he's taking it for what it is, entertainment value. And I don't allow him to sit with that all day. All right, man, come on, let's hit this gym. All right, man, turn that off. All right, I let him do it, but it's in moderation. So my point to all that is it really starts and ends. It seems cliche. We heard it for years. It starts and ends at home.
That's real. It do start and end at home, but the problem is this. If home don't know no better,
that's it. That's
then
the
what
problem.
can you teach?
That's you hope they lucky and get a mentor or something, because that's when you got the issue.
And that's why we trying to create this community. So people that need that help can reach out, they can talk, they can express their feelings. Because we're not blaming our mother and daddy. What we're trying to show you is slavery has an impact.
Oh, man.
It's in our DNA. It's been riding with us for so long. That's the virus we're talking about. Nobody want to talk about that. But the Jewish people are ruling this world. Why? Because they're not letting the Holocaust fall.
Yeah.
And they training their people.
Yes.
Right.
We trying to, people tell us, oh, that happened, trying to negate, and that's important. That's it. And like you say, they still stand on the Holocaust. This happened to us. We not going to let y'all forget. This is our reparations. This is what we going to do differently. But as far as slavery go,
pull yourself up by the bootstraps
Yeah.
and get going.
Yeah.
But you ain't got
Forget
no
that shit.
damn
That
boots.
ain't no big deal. That's
Right.
over with. That was 100 years. Why y'all still talking about that?
But that's our fault. Because we went out here, was taught by our parents to be tough. And that toughness took away us learning.
Right.
Took away our history. And if we don't know our history, we don't know nothing. They didn't let that happen. They just came out here and said, you know what, I'm going to create this, pass it to my son. He going to create a bigger movement, and it's going to keep going. Now you're saying they owning the banks, they owning the movie industry. Yeah, they did their work.
Yeah.
We coming out here wanting to preach rap music, wanting to preach violence, wanting to preach revenge.
Yeah.
Living our life on the no snitch rule.
Which is the most ignorant thing in the world to me.
Exactly.
Now, you telling me if somebody, rape a child or a woman or hit an old lady upside the head or kill an innocent man, you not supposed to tell? You're not supposed to help? If you know about it, man, that's the snitch thing to, man, look.
But see, wait, that came from, again, the higher authorities. Because when you're in the streets, you understand. The cops would come pull you over, knowing you got 2 strikes, have a key on his seat and telling you, if you don't tell,
no doubt,
I'm going to take you. And what you think you, big, bad, crip of the hood, you finna tell?
All day.
And now they got you under their control. So they use that against you because your knowledge level doesn't go far enough to understand. You're not questioning nothing.
Right.
Start questioning the why. The why do we do this?
So now this is, it's not off topic, but I'm glad you opened this up because these conversations I had, I want to use this opportunity, if I can, to even get a little deeper on, and not to stray too far away, but a big conscious effort to destroy the families and the communities. Because if you look back during Black Wall Street, during the Civil Rights Movement, when the Nation of Islam first were introduced to black people, you had black men and women and children side by side. And the family structure was solid. And they knew that because, number one, and I'm going to tell this to the world and anybody watching, and it's not a racist thing, this is just truth. The baddest being on this planet, the coldest human being on this planet is the American black man. The American black man sets the pulse of the world, of the culture, the music, the fashion, athletics, education, everything. The American black man is something different, and it's people from hundreds of years ago that's information passed down that understand this. That's why when I hear people say the black woman is getting assaulted and getting killed, I love my sisters, but you're not a threat. The masculine energy is to these people. So the one is getting emasculated, that they welcoming in to be homosexuals, that they trying to take your protector, that they trying to destroy, is the black man. So it started with, they know, okay, they got their women with them. First off, take the women in respect. So while we in the middle of the civil rights movement, they start what? The feminist movement. Now our women were fine, marching with us, trying to get us to, as a community, but now they dangling a carrot like, nah, y'all women need to be equal to y'all men on this, that. So a lot of our women started going to the feminist movement first off. And then they say, okay, now let's throw them the welfare system. So now, hey, I'll give you some bread and some money for some food, but a man can't live in your house, and it can't be any remnants of a man. No drawers, no clothes. They get to come in your house and look in your drawers and see if it's any evidence of a man living here. So now, what type of respect do a woman and her children have that the husband got to go hide or got to go leave because the worker coming over tomorrow, so he got to go stay at his mama house. So your daddy can't provide enough, but the government is providing for you. So now, consciously, that's knocking the black man down another step. You got the feminist movement, you got the welfare system. Now, let's go ahead and drop this heroin and this crack on them, right? So Generation X was my generation, meaning that the impact of it started hitting with my dad's generation. So now they throwing Superfly, they throwing Pamela Greer, They throwing Scarface. So my dad's generation, which is your generation, now they just want to get money. Fuck the movement. Fuck civil rights. Nigga, I'm about to get this money. Right. So now you got dudes out here now they hitting everything that walk and having kids that you can't be a father to 5 different families. And now you ain't living with this family because the welfare system. And now you either on crack or selling crack. So now the 80s come through. So now the imagery of the black man to the world and even to his woman and kids is that he a piece of shit. Mm-hmm. So this is a concerted, conscious effort. COINTELPRO, the government, man, I tell my kids this: if you have an enemy that you don't know of who's studying you and trying to find your weaknesses and how to destroy you, and you walking around in la la land not knowing you got this enemy, you done. They studied us, man. They went to Germany in World War II, and they took all them German scientists that did all them crazy experiments and all that shit, and they broke down Hitler's regime and hired them scientists. They hired the scientists, and they took the research on how to fucking control people, how to kill people, how to separate people. Then we all know Jim Crow and all. So man, it's a concerted effort to do this to us. So no doubt it's us that has to change it. But when you got generations upon generations that consciously knew the effects of this cause, it's hard as fuck to break that cycle, man, unless you really conscious and conscious and mobilize yourself to change it. But now your women walking around not supporting you and riding with you like that. So even our community is broken. So how you gonna build when the women in your community it's it ain't their fault. It's been put on them, but they looking at you like this, and now they just as strong as you. They want to raise the sons. Right. I'm gonna raise my baby, and so now the sons is one-sided. They feminized, not knowing. They think they tough, but they really feminized. So pretty much that's a feminine energy when it's one-sided. Children can't be raised by the mother or the father. It has to be an equal balance. And so what we have is a lot of guys who walking around here emotional, and it's coming out with aggression and with violence and with guns, but it's a feminine reaction to conflict resolution because our sisters are emotional creatures by nature. This isn't a chauvinistic statement I'm making. This is by nature. And women will admit this. They understand they are emotional creatures. We are practical creatures. So when you raise just by an emotional creature, that's how you're going to react. And I'm telling you, that concerted effort to do that, now they don't have to do nothing but sit back and watch the plan unfold. And when I say they, it's not all Europeans. It's not all white people. I got some good white brothers who I rock with. You know what I'm saying? And there's some white people who helped us along the way to achieve even what we've achieved today as a people. The power structure, you have to take a color off of it because the power structure don't give a shit if you white, if you black, if you whatever. They care about their status. So like even all these racists who support certain candidates or whatever don't understand that these candidates wouldn't sit in the room with you. And so that whole energy that a lot of guys are perpetuating from being one-sided by these single parent households that was a devised plan is what we really running off of. That's what the so-called gangsters are really going off of feminine energy because the father was removed from the home. And I know this kind of moved off track, you know what I'm saying? And I got to catch that flight back to ATL, so I hope I didn't stray off of our original topic of what brought me to gang banging or whatever the case, man.
You good, bro, but we need to go deeper into that.
Yes, sir.
That masculinity and femininity.
Yes, sir.
We running it wrong. Blacks think just to be masculine mean being angry.
Absolutely.
You need to know both sides.
Yeah.
See, when I had an awakening, bro, God showed me that feminine side of me.
Yeah.
And I cried for a year straight. That's what opened my world, bro. We have to talk about this. It's not just being angry.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not going to get into that because I know you got to go. I know you got to fly back to Atlanta. We're gonna do a part 2 on this.
Okay.
So whenever you come back, man, we're gonna do it for the people, bro.
I tell you what, Uncle Love, this is so important, man, and this message got to get out. And right when you said that, I'm thinking about my schedule, and I can get back here to L.A. Let's say in about let's do a part 2, man. Let's say in about a week or 2.
Man, that'll work. Man, that'll work. In a week or 2?
Absolutely. I say no longer than, let's say, the beginning of the next month. I'll be out here within the next 2 weeks of next month. That's my
Early
word
November.
bond. Early November. That's my word bond.
Okay. Early November, people, we got Big Rocc back. But stay tuned because we got Mike coming on the scene also.
Mike Ski. Mike Ski, what up, though?
So let's do this.
Sir, yes, sir.
More love. Peace, baby.
Peace.
All we need is love to make it through another day. All we need is love, 'cause I don't